College football starting to take off. SEC Media Days underway. Alabama hits the stage today. But one of the questions that you guys have for us, and we've tried to find out, how many recruits will Alabama take 2025? And I got an answer, but I don't have a number, and we're going to get into that. What did everyone say about Alabama Media Days yesterday, including former Alabama defensive coordinator and head coach of the Georgia Bulldogs, Kirby? Yeah, Kirby Smart. I'm going to talk about that. And Bama. A couple more guys drafted. The MLB baseball draft is over. We're going to talk about all that right here on the Bama Tailgate YouTube channel. Me and my friend Big Elmo. And we're going to do that with you guys. We want you to like and subscribe. We want you to give us a thumbs up. We want you to be part of what we're doing here. And we want you to do it and feel like you're at home, because here's your invitation. Roll Tide. All right, Brett, let's get into this really quick. What is the proper way of saying roll tide? Is it roll tide, or is it roll tide, or is it roll tide, roll?
Depends on the mood, atmosphere, the people you're around. There's several criteria. If you were on a Southwest flight Monday and you heard someone say roll tide when we landed, that was me. And I got a few roll tides back, which was good. Added a little excitement to the end of the flight. But any kind of roll tide is perfectly fine with me.
Remember the commercial that they did, the ESPN commercial, and it was like all the different roll tides? The one guy was the Alabama super fan, and he had like a whole back full of Alabama tattoos. But they were all from before the Saban era.
Yeah. I need to pull up. I've got to find them. I've got a couple of pictures with some super fans. Have you ever had your picture taken with super fans before?
Yeah. Well, there was a guy that used to go to the Alabama baseball games that was a super fan, and he would like do the Cotton Eye Joe. That was when Alabama baseball used to be really good. Like when they were feared and they could win the SEC and they would go to the College World Series. It's not like that anymore, and it better get back there soon. We're going to talk some baseball in this show, but they had the guy that would come out there. He was the super fan. And then the other guy said, with all the tattoos, he was a super fan. And then you had the girls that wore the houndstooth hats. They were super fans. And then the guys with roll tide boxes, they were super fans.
You're right. Yeah.
So who'd you get your picture taken with?
What's the latest guy? The one with the helmet and the big, it looks like a hammer, I think, or something. I got my picture with him. And then there's another one, and you'll just have to see the picture.
Yeah, maybe put it up there. I surprised you with this because
I'll have to look those up for tomorrow's show because that'd be funny.
Yeah, we'll look them up. Okay, you're the guy that gets your picture taken with super fans, and I love that idea. I mean, once you get it going, then all of a sudden you could have a collection of, here's Brett Elmore with the latest Alabama super fan.
I would scan that picture that I had made with Roll Tide Willie, but it's in poster form and it's framed in my living room.
Roll Tide Willie is the current super fan.
Yeah,
he is.
Where's Roll Tide Willie at? Roll Tide Willie, come on the show.
We're gonna have to have him in there. I like Roll Tide Willie. You seem to think there's a whole town of Roll Tide Willies in Jasper.
Yeah, there's a community of them. Yeah.
All right, well, let's talk about this. Let's change subjects. How many recruits will Bama take in 2025? A lot of you guys have gotten in the comment section and you're like, hey, what are we, like 23 right now? How many are you going to take? 25. I feel like Bama's going to get AK Deer. I think that they're going to try to get Khalik Lockett, Derek Meadows, one of the 5-star wide receivers, be a great fit, either guy. Derek Meadows is going to be announcing sometime soon. I would love to see him come out of Bishop Gorman in Vegas. And that's just because we just got back from Vegas. But Here's the thing. Courtney Morgan was on Ryan Fowler's show. I used to be his co-host for years.
Yeah.
And Ryan asked him how many recruits, and basically the recruiting GM at Alabama now, Courtney Morgan, said, he learned it from Jim Harbaugh that if guys fit the culture, that you find a spot for them and things work themselves out. So I get that, and maybe that's why a couple guys decommitted when Alabama had that big run of recruiting. Who knows? I don't know all the behind the scenes stuff. I don't think any of us do. We got an idea of what the big board looks like. You look at the fact that they took maybe an extra offensive lineman, but they've got an amazing class of guys now in that position group. And maybe you were just going to take somebody in the transfer portal anyway. So it's just one less transfer you get, but you got talent. What do you think?
I think Courtney Morgan doesn't get enough credit, probably. He's done I think he's been a big factor in all this, in that GM role or whatever you want to call it. If it was the Bear Bryant era, the answer would be very simple. We're going to take all of them.
Yeah, right.
But we can't. And there's going to, sadly enough, decisions have to be made, and there's not, and that's not a fun part of the deal. That may be why you see some folks start to decommit, because they kind of see maybe the writings on the wall,
Mm-hmm.
or hey, these guys hadn't called me in 4 weeks. I wonder.
It should be that.
It's sort of like me trying to get a date. I wonder why you didn't call me. I think she decommitted. I think she decommitted for the 10th time. No. And I'm with you on those three players. I think you add those guys into it. I mean, top to bottom, though, obviously by the rankings, this is a stellar class. It's going to end up being a stellar class. And I'm looking forward to seeing who's next.
Yeah, right. Well, Alabama hits the stage today. Kalen DeBoer, I'm sure he's going to kill it at SEC Media Days. He always kind of has the same message, but he talks to everybody, right? He's just a nice guy. You can tell that. But don't confuse his niceness and his kindness for weakness. He's a tough guy. I mean, no doubt about it. He's just a good guy. And I'm excited to see that. I've met Jalen Milroe, Malachi Moore, interviewed both of them, talked to them both alike, both of those guys, good speakers, great representatives of Alabama. And I haven't interviewed or met Tyler Booker, but I've watched him on the Next Round a lot. I think he's great too. So I think this is a really good crew for Alabama to take to Media Days. Oh yeah, we'll be represented well, and it's a different feel already at Media Days with Coach Saban sitting on the set instead of behind the scenes, and just for his one day in and out of there. Now he's there for the whole thing and having to cover it, and it's going to be a weird day tomorrow. When Alabama comes up and there's Kalen DeBoer, but it's exciting too. It's the new era of Alabama football being rushed in. I'll be very interested to see what Saban has to say tomorrow. Of course, I'm sure now he's employed by ESPN, but he's also still on the payroll at Alabama. So we'll see what direction he goes. But all eyes is that they'll be on Kalen DeBoer tomorrow. That's for sure. And I keep saying tomorrow. Today, Alabama will be, in the picture, in the spotlight, along with Florida and Mississippi State and Texas. Yeah, and by the way, that's not a penalty anymore. We're not throwing a flag on the horns down. Right, not throwing the flag on the horns down. So this, to me, is the highlight day of Media Days. I want to see what DeBoer has to say today. I want to see what Sark has to say. You have this whole, Saban dropping that Macho Man Randy Savage elbow drop earlier in the week when he said Texas is not going to run the SEC.
So
Texas didn't run the Big 12. So I mean, like,
yeah. I mean, get in line, pal. Back of the line. You're the new kid in town. Prove yourself in the SEC. You and Oklahoma.
I can't wait till they lose to like Mississippi State.
Right. Yeah.
Or they, or they lose to like Missouri or somebody that they're supposed to Kentucky. When you're going, oh, you didn't realize that, did you? Although they've lost to all those kind of teams in their conference too.
This is the big boy, big boy football here.
Yeah.
But today's gonna be a great day. SEC Media Day. Can't wait for it. Must see TV today with Coach DeBoer.
All right, couple things to talk about from yesterday. Kirby Smart was talking about Nick Saban, basically just talked about what a friend and a mentor and family he was working with Coach Saban for all of those years. He's probably also happy that he's not going to have to lose another football game to Nick Saban. And I don't blame him. I mean, Saban's ruined his season, and the only reason that Georgia got that first national championship, although no, the second national championships, because Alabama didn't get into the playoff to beat them. Alabama had to beat them in the SEC the one year, and then they lost to them in the rematch, which had a lot of injuries involved. But I'm not going to take anything away from their one win against Nick Saban. I thought it was interesting that yesterday Josh Heupel was talking about Kalen DeBoer, both fellow South Dakota natives. He said, yeah, I'm not sure anybody pictured two South Dakotians being in the SEC a few years ago. I thought that was a great comment, because who would have ever thought that? I mean, I always thought the small, in the middle of nowhere place that put coaches in the SEC was West Virginia.
Yeah. South Dakotians. That's I've never used that term before.
Pheasant hunting. That's what you do there. And freeze.
South Dakotians
and Sturgis.
But I would rather call them South Dakotanators. Just something like that. And I didn't realize they were both from South Dakota, which is really, really odd.
Yeah.
And that's that's like a 1 in 50 chance.
Yeah, it's less than that.
Yeah, it's like 1 in 50.
Yeah. All right. Bama baseball, 3 more players drafted, Brett.
Yeah, 3 more players were drafted yesterday, bringing the total to 6. So congratulations. Ian Petrutz went in the 12th round, 351st overall to St. Louis. The junior outfielder started all 57 games for the Crimson Tide. Let's see. Pierce George went in the 13th round to Chicago, the White Sox. The pitcher, he's a sophomore, a flamethrower. The righty joined the Crimson Tide in 2024. Made 12 appearances out of the bullpen during the first season in Tuscaloosa. And TJ McCants went in the 16th round, also to the White Sox. He's an outfielder, a senior, and a standout at the plate and in center field, starting 56 games for the Crimson Tide. Finished with a 306 batting average.
Well, good luck to those guys, and we appreciate what the program's doing right now. Kicked out 6, including a first-round pick, so hopefully they'll be able to restock there at Alabama baseball. Guys, the show's always brought to you by our friends at Pearl River Resort over in Philadelphia, Mississippi. Brett and I have been doing the tour of casinos, and we spent one of those times at Pearl River. We had a great time. Golden Moon. We watched Boys to Men. He met Big and Rich. He hung out with Big and Rich and Gretchen Wilson. They're all tight now. They've got Rodney Carrington coming up. It really is a fun place, though. And just having spent time in Vegas, I'm going to reiterate this. It's Vegas without paying $20 for a beer. It's I paid $6 for a beer. I guess I should admit this now. I picked up a round of beers. I got Brett 2 of them when we were at Boys to Men. I spent $12. In Vegas, I mean, one beer was like $15, and those were the cheap ones. So take advantage of the fact that it's right in your backyard, and they're not over there trying to rake you over the coals. Hour and a half from Tuscaloosa, 2.5 hours from Birmingham, not far from Jasper. It got the Dancing Rabbit, which right now you can play that, the Augusta that you can play. Spend $50 in the sports book, and you can play for $40. The water park's awesome. That's Geyser Falls. And they got table games and slots. And I know you're chomping at the bit. There's something that you want to say.
I was talking about the beer situation, and I don't drink liquor, but this guy was at the bar, and he wasn't from America, and he was visiting, and he went up to the bar, and he orders a shot of whiskey, and anyway, he takes a shot and everything, and he's waiting on his change, and he's counting, and he says, "I gave you 100." And he said, "Yeah, I know." I said, "How much is that shot?" He said, $26. I was like, "Holy smokes!"
Oh my God!
Yes. He said, "I could have bought him a whole bottle for that."
The problem with Harrah's is where we stayed out there is they want to charge you like they're an elite place,
right?
And they're
no.
All right. When we come back, this guy takes over the show.
Pearl River Resort.
They call him Big Sexy, coming at you from the Walker County. Jasper is his hometown. He's known for giving free rundowns. Oh, Big Sexy, throwing out those Alabama thoughts, sneaking out your mom's window without getting caught. Nick gives you the XP, but Big Elmo is here to please. Big Sexy Elmo on the Bama Tailgate Show.
Yes, the 17th day of July. Welcome in. What? Oh, yeah, there I am. I'm down there. There I am. 17th day of July. Not a whole lot going on. I don't know what it is about the past few days, but born on this day, David Hasselhoff.
Oh, the Hoff.
Hoff was born this day, 1952.
People forget that he was Knight Rider. And I mean, like, and that was a badass show. It was like a car that talked and, and was like a smart car.
Kit or
his Kit, yeah. I mean, like everybody would be riding around in these black sports cars, and like you had to have the front that had like the little lights on it and all this. And a lot of you guys that are younger going, "What the hell are you guys talking about?" Well, it was a really popular show back when people used to watch TV for sitcoms, and then he went to Baywatch. Yeah. And that's kind of where like his modern fame is.
Right. And of course his singing. He's big in Germany, I think.
I've heard that before.
Yeah, he's huge.
Well, they think he's one of them because of his name.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah. Deaths on this day.
Oh.
A big day music-wise, because Billie Holiday and John Coltrane both passed away on this day.
Well, didn't Billie Holiday die in that plane crash with the guy from La Bamba? I mean, like, right? And he am I off or something? Like,
no. That was not Billie Holiday. No. That was not Billie Holiday.
Who was in that plane?
I think that was Buddy Holly, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, it was Buddy Holly. And because Waylon Jennings was supposed to get on the plane, and they took his spot.
Could you imagine if Waylon Jennings would have got on that plane? Well, we would have missed out on a lot of stuff.
We wouldn't have had the Highwayman, and then Dukes of Hazzard wouldn't have had a voice.
Yeah, I mean, who would have sung the Dukes of Hazzard thing?
I don't know, but and who would have narrated it? The crazy thing though is how all of that stuff plays out. you know, and how, I mean, just sometimes that's the way that it turns out. And I mean, who would have thought that?
Yeah. Yeah. Wow, I was trying to think of who would have been great to narrate that. Willie Nelson would have been a good one to narrate that.
Well, if the Duke boys were carrying pot instead of moonshine,
Yeah,
then Willie Nelson would have been perfect.
that would have been perfect. Yeah, that would have been a perfect tie-in.
We're running weed.
Yeah. He'd be like, "Oh boy, the Duke boys are running it again."
Uncle Jesse's high as a kite.
High as a cat.
Coo.
American journalist Walter Cronkite passed away on this day in 2009. Talking about a legend.
Yeah, he was. There's the Walter Cronkite School of Broadcasting, and that is in Arizona State. So I've used a lot of those kids as interns, and they've been really talented.
It's doing a whole lot better than the Brett Elmore School of Broadcasting in Bug Tussle, Alabama. I'll tell you that much.
You ought to go to Bevel and start teaching broadcasting, because people could learn a lot about the business from you. I'm being serious. You know,
maybe I should. Professor Elmore.
No, Elmo.
Yeah, Professor Elmo. That'd be great, man. I like the sound of that.
Yeah.
On this day in history, Joe DiMaggio ends his 56-game hitting streak back in 1941.
Never happened again, too. And that was the second longest streak of his career. He had one in the minor leagues that went longer than that. But what's crazy is that DiMaggio hit for 56 straight games. And the story is that Heinz 57 was about to give him a huge bump, like a huge endorsement for the streak to get to 57. So they had everything set up for that.
Oh, wow.
And then he didn't get it. And so, back then the guys didn't make the kind of money that they do now. DiMaggio now would be paid like Ohtani. I mean, he'd be $700 million player. I mean, maybe even more, because he was so good and, was such a big name and all that stuff. I love the fact that the guy was married to Marilyn Monroe. I mean, that's an accomplishment within itself. Talking about
way to go, guy.
Yeah, good job. So Joltin' Joe, man. And then they had the song. Do you know the song that they put out? Like back then they had a hit song. I think it got up to like number 15 on the charts, but it was Joltin' Joe. Joltin' Joe DiMaggio. Like I
have heard that song.
Yeah, I'm a big baseball guy, so I mean I could sit here and talk about Joltin' Joe, and I'm not a Yankees fan at all, but if you enjoy the game and the history of the game, you got to love that. The other thing I will tell you guys is that Ted Williams hit 406 that year and did not win the American League MVP because DiMaggio won it.
What the hell's wrong with you, man? You've got all this knowledge in your head.
I love the game of baseball. I mean, I just do.
You do. And but man, you're pulling this stuff. This is right off. This is right up here too.
It is right in the old.
That's
noggin.
Scary.
On the old noggin up here.
That is scary. Who won the 1952 World Series?
Oh, let's see, man. 52. So I think in 53 it was the Giants over Cleveland, right? So I don't know. I'm gonna guess that, or at least in 54, I'm gonna guess that in 52 it was the Yankees.
Let's look real quick.
And if it's not, it's the Dodgers, but I think it's the Yankees.
52 World Series. Yeah. Yankees beating the Dodgers. Good job. Man, I'm impressed.
Got both teams.
1967. Do what?
I got both teams.
Yeah. I know, Mick. You got both teams. We're moving on.
All right,
my segment. Get out of the way.
Here we go.
You and your knowledge. Jimi Hendrix drops out as the opening act for the Monkees this day in 1967. Could you imagine Jimi Hendrix opening up for the Monkees? How do you follow Jimi Hendrix? Jesus.
Who was I talking to the other day, and they told me that they like the Monkees more than they like the Beatles?
Oh, no.
Somebody said that on one of I do so many shows. I'm trying to remember who said that, but
that sounds like Coker.
No. He wouldn't even know who either one was.
I don't know either one of them.
You should have seen his reaction when I gave him his Grateful Dead shirt.
He was like, "What do I do with this?"
He was like, "I wear this to bed." I was like, "No, you wear that to out.
Wear this to bed.
You wear this out, man, and let your hair grow a little bit."
Yeah. Could you imagine Jimi Hendrix on stage, and then and what a rock show that would be? And then here come the Monkeys, and they're like, "Hey, we're the Monkeys.
The Monkeys
Everybody's monkeying around," and everybody's like,
"Gotta make an admission here." I used to love the Monkeys when the TV show came back on MTV years ago, and my friends and we tried to put together a rock band like the Monkeys, you know. So
wow. Yeah, I knew there was a connection there somewhere, pal.
I wanted to be Davy Jones.
I knew there was a connection. Okay, I got it.
Sleepy Jean.
Yeah, there you go. And finally, Disneyland opened this day in 1955. If you haven't seen the special on the History Channel of the TV show is something like how something was made or whatever. But anyway, it was on Disneyland, and all of this thought and all the challenges they faced, and it was like they built this out in the middle of nowhere, and it's just a remarkable story. See, I'll watch it on the History Channel. It's really good. But anyway, it opened up this day in 1955, and that's a look at this day in history.
Roll Tide, everybody. Have a great day.